Welcome back to what is still the Hockey Guy channel. You got cats here, I got a bunny underneath here. Eventually, there will be animals everywhere. Someday, maybe 3-4 years from now, people are going to tune in and go, so did he just casually turn it into an animal channel? Like, where'd the dog come from? So, someday. All right, so news of the day for today for your Friday. Tucker Poolman is going to have a hearing today for the high sticking incident with Cole Sherwood. You know what, the high sticking ones, honestly, the NHL's really inconsistent. I know, newsflash. So I have no idea what they're going to do here. Usually a hearing means a suspension, but the last time that there was a hearing, wasn't that PK Subban when he got another fine? So I don't know. Maybe they're calling him out to say, hey, so we're going to fine you the maximum allowable under the CBA, and you want to have a hearing about it? You can hang out. So, yeah, and coming after last night's game, I'm going to say I agree with fans. This is the thing, though. I agree with fans that are saying that, you know, there needs to be a change in Vancouver. I've been saying that for a while. I honestly thought the change should have occurred last season, and was kind of surprised when there wasn't a change. And I'm talking about general manager, I'm talking about coach, either or both. Something in Vancouver, it feels like needs to change. And I don't think that if you get rid of Travis Green that they start winning a bunch of games. I don't think that's the case. I think there's a flaw, and I'm still trying to figure out what it is. Like, the core, I really like the core guys. I do. I like a lot of players on the team, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the team itself is going to have that success. So I do think that, you know, there's got to be a clock running here, and eventually I think ownership's going to make a move. I know fans are frustrated, and they're not that patient right now waiting for a move, but I do think one is coming. So I don't know when. I wish I knew when, but I don't have that information. Braydon Coburn has announced his retirement. He hadn't played a game yet this season, of course, UFA and all that. He was a number 8 pick by Atlanta in 2003, had a nice long career, 983 games, 49 goals, 185 assists for 234 points. 2020-2021, he recorded 2 assists in 19 games. He played for the New York Islanders as well as the Ottawa Senators for a couple of games there. So Coburn retires. And, yeah, really solid career, 16 seasons, not bad. So Nick Bonino is frustrated going to San Jose. You know, things have been going well on the ice for the team in general, especially with the amount of players out, you know, in protocol, which have all come back today. Players and coach officially joined the team today, and now we'll see how San Jose does with everybody back together. But Bonino himself is frustrated that he doesn't have a point yet in 13 games in San Jose. So the frustration's starting to get to him a little bit. And who could blame him, really? That is completely understandable that he'd be frustrated with the lack of production he's had so far. He wants to produce for his new team. And so far that hasn't been the case. So for Bonino, we'll see how many games it is before that production shows up. I think it will. I do. I don't know that he gets back to like his peak levels, but Bonino's a good hard worker, and the points will come. Eric Stahl's agent has apparently been in touch with 3 to 4 different teams. This is that time of year where teams are kind of getting an idea of where they're at. It's been about a month, so you kind of know what you've got, and you might be looking at your forwards and going, I had faith in this coming into this season, but now I don't know. Or we're dealing with a bunch of injuries. We really need help down the middle. Is Eric Stahl still available? So those are 2 situations that we're going to see play themselves out. And yeah, we'll see where Stahl ends up. Should be an interesting one. So Chicago Blackhawks, this shouldn't be a thing, but it is. Basically, they're trying to make a settlement, but the Blackhawks have looked at the amount of money that's being asked for, and they're saying, nope. And they've requested mediation. The team on the other side has said no to that. So there's a stalemate here, which doesn't look good, right? Figure this out. Sit down and figure this out. Because if there's a stalemate and if the court case keeps going, then, I don't know. The NHL can't really step in. I don't think they can step in again on this. Like, they've already done the $2 million, which we all agree was not enough, but not enough being done here. And Yeah, so, and then there's all the other stuff with the John Doe 2 case and everything else, and it's still there. It's still percolating beneath the surface. And if they don't come to an agreement with Kyle Beach and his agent, his lawyers. I'm used to saying agent videos, right? So his lawyers, it's just the optics of it, right? And I understand there's someone might say, well, he's asking for too much money. Again, it all depends on how you view it and what you thought that Kyle Beach's ceiling was. I remember when he was drafted, there was some excitement about Kyle Beach. I remember fans of Vancouver not being happy that he was passed by the Canucks. And so, yeah, there was some excitement and some belief that he could be a really good power forward in the NHL. John Tortorella making news, coming out swinging with Connor McDavid. And it's Tortorella being Tortorella, really, right? So he's saying McDavid needs to change his game in order to win a Stanley Cup. That if the Oilers are serious about winning a Stanley Cup, McDavid's going to have to change how he plays the game. Now, my counter to that is McDavid has 11 goals in 21 playoff games. That's not like fantastic world beating, but that's pretty good for playoffs. McDavid's not the problem. Also, he says he needs to play on both sides of the puck. From everything I've seen, he does. He does come back and back check. McDavid is a pretty complete player. The days of the one way player and that really one-dimensional player being a star and keeping top minutes and all that, that's kind of past. You kind of have to be able to play on both sides of the puck, which McDavid does. And Draisaitl's been better at that as well this year than, say, he was 2 seasons ago. So I think is weird. And then he also says he needs to be quiet about the officiating. If you watch McDavid enough, you'll see there's a reason he complained about the officiating. And it's the same reason that Crosby and other star players going as far back as Mario Lemieux have complained about officiating. Star players get hooked, held, thrown down. And, I mean, you'll draw penalties off that, but at some point the referee's going to go, I already gave him 2 penalties tonight for being hooked and slashed, and I'm not giving them more. So, I can't get behind Tortorella on this one at all. I think McDavid's a fantastic player. I think the problems in Edmonton have been depth related. That once a team shuts down McDavid and Draisaitl, there really wasn't enough there that could hurt them. And now it feels like Edmonton is a more dangerous team, more balanced in general, and yet McDavid and Draisaitl are scoring at such a huge rate that I know that scoring doesn't necessarily translate into the playoffs, but they're on a completely different level than anybody has been since, I want to say, Lemieux in the early 90s. This is, and it's both of them. So the idea that you can just easily compare them to other players and other teams, like you mentioned Ovechkin, and Ovechkin won a Stanley Cup after he changed his game. That's true. Ovechkin, early in his career, it felt like there was a lot of me first, and he was scoring a lot of goals. And it felt like once he had that, there was one season there where Ovechkin was passing way more and he got a lot more assists. And his game really changed to where it was, okay, I think, it's important for us to win a Stanley Cup. Got to start doing the team thing. He became a real leader. But I don't think McDavid's in that realm. Like, he does pass the puck. He's not selfish about any of it. When Draisaitl and McDavid are having a battle for first and scoring, it's not like he doesn't pass to Draisaitl. It's not like he goes, well, I could pass to Draisaitl. He's got a good chance for a goal, but I'm only 1 point ahead of him in the points race. So if I pass it to Yamamoto instead and he buries it, now I'm 2 points ahead. Never seen anything like that between them. So yeah, McDavid I think is already good enough, and I think it's a matter of the team around him being good enough and the goaltending being good enough, which last year Smith was very good in the playoffs, but they just didn't have that depth scoring, and Winnipeg took them out in 4. So, yeah, I can't get behind the idea that it's McDavid's fault, or that he has to change his game. Because I don't know what do you change. And if it's he needs to play better defensively, I think he's pretty solid defensively. I also wanted to mention that Nick Suzuki, after a really rough start, his turnaround, 3 goals, 9 assists, 12 points in 14 games. He is now being mentioned in articles and just in general about guys with a chance to make Team Canada for the Olympics. I've also been happy to see Andrew Mangiapane's name on that list. as one of the players who might end up on the Olympic team. It's going to be really interesting to see who Team Canada picks, because there's going to be some big names left off. There's going to be some really good players left off that list, because you only have a certain number of spots to fill. So, yeah, and we're not as far away from that as it may sound. So it's November 12th. You have December, January. So less than 3 months from now, the NHL's closed down and going over to play in the Olympics. So it's not that far off, and it's not too early to talk about who may or may not make those teams. I already did a video on that a couple months ago, but now I'm getting really interested to see who actually does make the teams, because there will be players who are off to really fast starts, who get the attention of general managers picking Olympic rosters. There are also going to be players who are off to miserable starts, and that's going to cause them to fall maybe off of the radar or further out on the radar of those same general managers. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always, regarding any of these items. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happen upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.